This is Sahar Atassi, and you're listening to Nothing But Dicta, the podcast for people who like to send signals about the right and wrong way to do something. Today, we're talking to two L's, Nora, Sweeney, and Abigail Zwick.
So my name is Nora Sweeney. I am a 2L.
I'm Abby.
How have you been surviving quarantine?
I like to leave the house when I wake up in the morning, like if it's just like going to pick up coffee or going for a walk. I don't always do that, but if I can, that's helpful. I like to cook a lot, so I have been trying a lot of new recipes.
You should start like a cooking vlog for GW, like law student nervously baking.
Add it to the list.
I have been on the phone with North Carolina voters and spending some of my spare moments volunteering with Vote Save America's Adopt a State program. I found a quarantine pod of a few people that don't really see a lot of other people, and I do living room karaoke sometimes. There's a virtual dance class called Dance Church that I attend regularly. It's sort of like Zumba with tens of thousands of people post their videos.
Including us, we all did it together once.
I would like to correct that and say that I did that, and the two of you had fully RSVP'd yes and committed, and then joined the Zoom and just sat right like you are right now and just watched us. And that's fine, but you know, you're welcome to we could do it soon. Actually, that is advice I give for the 1Ls, is to be active, especially sitting and reading. Like, I don't know, I would find friends to do yoga, or I should say a few strangers who you've maybe had less than a sentence interaction with and don't know if you'd be friends, but you could ask them if they want to meet up in a park and do a yoga video.
Yeah, I definitely second that and recommend yoga with Adrienne.
Oh, I just finished day 30 of the home 30-day journey today.
She's the best.
What do you wish someone would have told you before law school?
I wish that someone would have told me that everybody else is just as confused as I was. Especially doing class online is going to be a little difficult to realize that, because it took a few weeks for me to really find my groove and find the people that I was comfortable talking to about class stuff and being able to turn to them and be like, do you have any idea what just happened in class? I think just going into it knowing that you're not the only one who's incredibly confused is really helpful.
Do you have any advice for the 1Ls in their first couple of weeks?
I have one that I am trying this semester, which we'll see. I know that when I started, I was like obsessive about the way that I took my notes and like stuck to one system and was like, I'm going to be super organized and be ready to outline and whatever. But I also think like I should have probably thought about a few different ways to approach it. I like picked one route and just stuck with it because I was like, oh, I'm already like a week and a half in, which in the grand scheme of things is like nothing.
I think it would make people's lives easier to look at some examples of things rather than struggle over them. Just like read examples of what questions and answers are like, because I think trying to do everything in the like linear order, for me, it didn't work. And also like for the writing assignment, and my personal advice would be to look at an example where somebody points out what each part of the tree is.
Yeah, I think going on that too is for writing. Every professor is definitely really different. So your professor is going to be clear about what they want, and like don't lose sight of that. Like I remember talking to friends in different sections and things just sounded really different, like what they were up to. And I was like, oh, this is so weird. Like, is what I'm doing wrong? But you're probably on the right track if you're just listening to what your professor is telling you to focus on. I also think like a benefit of being virtual as a 1L is that I felt like there was a lot of stuff that I felt pressured to attend that was like extracurricular, like meetings or like talks or I don't know, different things that happen on campus. Well, now that pressure's gone and you can just like hop on. If you're interested, you can hop on via Zoom or whatever they're doing and you can leave without feeling uncomfortable and like making a big scene. I think that is a huge benefit that one else have.
I agree, especially because so many of our activities were after 8 p.m. and we had days where we finished class at 1. So
like I'm not staying here for 8 hours, but I also live like 30 minutes away. So
if your instinct is that you just kind of want to, you have a sense for yourself of what would make sense, I would just follow that.
If someone is making you feel bad about not pursuing a certain like area of practice or not joining a certain organization or doing whatever, like they're probably just trying to make sure they feel okay with what they're doing. So do what you want to do. Stick to yourself. You will know if something is right or wrong for you. Like, you know yourself the best.
I don't think I figured that out until quarantine time.
I thought that I was not going to be susceptible to getting stressed out by other people's hype. Like I knew I would be stressed out about exams or whatever, but I didn't think that I was going to have a hard time recognizing that. But it can really like absorb a lot of your time. But
that's probably going to be another plus side of not being in class is, the person who asks you, how much homework did you do last night? Or like, how long did it take you to read that reading? Like, they're not going to be there sitting in your class. Like, you don't have to deal with that kind of stuff. So
during 1L, stay in touch with friends you have that are not law school friends, who are the kind of friends who will like laugh at you when you're stressed about something in a way that makes you realize there is humor. 1L feels like a huge deal, and a lot of situations seem very high stress. You may find that if you describe it to a person who is not in law school and who has a sense of humor, it might change your outlook on it.
I also think something I would try to do is like, especially during last semester when the coronavirus happened and classes went online, I just kept trying to remind myself that like, we're so lucky to be here in the first place. Like, there's a lot of people who don't get the opportunity to go to college or go to get a second degree. So remember, like, even when it feels like a really tough, terrible experience, that you're very blessed to be in this situation.
There are fun things during COVID, such as a living room karaoke machine.
What song has been particularly successful with you recently?
Well, Alanis Morissette is always pretty successful over karaoke. I think that you ought to know. I just like the story.
I've got
one hand in my pocket.
Another one
giving a peace sign.
Yes.
On that note, I'd like to thank both of you and all of our listeners for joining in on another episode of Nothing But Dicta.